Ladies and gentlemen, let's talk real. Let's talk raw. Let's talk about something people are too scared to say out loud: submission, loyalty, and power inside relationships. Loyalty is often seen as a virtue, something that shows deep respect and commitment. Yet, in today's world, it's frequently misunderstood, especially when it comes to relationships. There is this misconception that loyalty is a sign of weakness, something that binds a person to another in a way that stifles their individuality and freedom. However, nothing could be further from the truth. Loyalty, when understood correctly, is one of the greatest sources of strength anyone can possess, especially in relationships. Loyalty is about trust. It's about knowing that, regardless of the challenges or temptations that might come along, your partner will stand by you. It's a commitment not just to love each other in the easy times, but to support each other when things get difficult. This kind of loyalty creates a foundation, a safe space where both partners can thrive. It doesn't take away freedom. Instead, it creates an environment where that freedom can flourish, because both individuals know they can rely on each other, no matter what. In relationships, loyalty fosters a sense of security. People who feel secure are far more likely to give their best, to be open, to take risks, and to build. Security breeds confidence. Confidence breeds success. When you know someone has your back, you can take on the world. The loyalty between partners provides the strength needed to overcome adversity, whether that's external challenges or the internal struggles we all face as humans. Loyalty is the backbone that holds everything together when everything else seems to fall apart. Loyalty is also about being there through the highs and the lows. Life isn't a straight line. It's full of ups and downs, moments of joy and despair. When both partners remain loyal, they become each other's emotional anchor. They provide the stability that's needed in a world that's constantly shifting. Loyalty means standing by someone even when times are tough, even when others might turn their backs. It's not about blind obedience or staying out of duty. It's about mutual respect, understanding, and a shared vision for the future. It's about making a conscious decision to stay when others might choose to leave. And that kind of loyalty builds unbreakable bonds between people. One of the most profound aspects of loyalty is that it allows both individuals to grow. When you know your partner is loyal, it gives you the freedom to be vulnerable. Vulnerability is often seen as a weakness, but in reality, it's a powerful strength. It's only when you feel secure enough to show your true self, to expose your flaws and imperfections, that real growth happens. Loyalty creates an environment where this kind of growth is possible. It's the understanding that you won't be judged, that your partner will accept you even at your lowest points, and that they are committed to growing alongside you. In today's world, where instant gratification and disposable relationships are more common than ever, loyalty can feel like a rare and endangered quality. People often treat relationships like transactions. I'll stay as long as it benefits me. But loyalty is about something deeper. It's about choosing someone again and again, not because it's convenient, but because it's meaningful. It's about giving, even when you don't always receive in equal measure. True loyalty is selfless. It's about putting the needs of the relationship above individual wants, and when both partners do this, the relationship becomes a powerful force for both people. Loyalty isn't about expecting perfection from your partner. It's about understanding that everyone has flaws and weaknesses, and that's okay. Loyalty allows you to accept your partner as they are, while still striving to be better together. It's not about changing each other, but about supporting each other's growth and helping each other become the best versions of themselves. Another key aspect of loyalty is the sense of ownership and responsibility that comes with it. When you are loyal to someone, you take responsibility for their well-being. It's not just about being there when things are easy or convenient. It's about being willing to make sacrifices, to put in the effort even when you don't feel like it. Loyalty means showing up for your partner, not just when things are going well, but when the road gets tough. It's about the long-term commitment, the dedication that doesn't waver. This kind of loyalty creates a strong, unbreakable bond. It doesn't matter what happens outside of the relationship. When you have loyalty, you know you have something solid, something that can weather any storm. In times of crisis or challenge, it's this loyalty that will get you through. It's the knowledge that no matter what, you have someone who's in your corner. This gives you the strength to keep going, to keep fighting for what you've built together. At its core, loyalty is also about prioritizing the relationship over the self. It's about understanding that you're in it together, that the success of the relationship depends on both of you putting in the effort. When both partners are equally loyal to each other, they create a partnership that is greater than the sum of its parts. It's a force that can't be easily broken. Loyalty doesn't require grand gestures or constant reminders. It's shown in the little things, in the way you listen, the way you show up for each other, in the consistency of your actions. It's not about saying the right words, but about living those words every day. The most loyal people don't need to announce it. They show it. They embody it. It's in their actions, in the way they treat their partner, in the respect they give and receive. It's a quiet strength, a steady commitment that builds over time. In a world that often glorifies independence and self-sufficiency, loyalty is the ultimate act of strength. It's the ability to trust and to be trusted, to give and to receive. It's about creating something lasting, something meaningful in a world that constantly tries to tear things apart. Loyalty is not a weakness. It is the foundation upon which strong, lasting relationships are built. It's what allows two people to grow together, to face life's challenges together, and to come out stronger on the other side. Loyalty may not always be the easiest path to take, but it is the most rewarding. It's what turns a relationship from something superficial into something deep and real. It's what creates bonds that last, what builds trust, and what gives strength when everything else seems to fall apart. Loyalty is not just about staying in the relationship. It's about committing to making it work, even when it's hard. It's about choosing your partner every day, and in doing so, choosing yourself. Submission is often seen in a negative light. People misunderstand it, believing it is about weakness, oppression, or being controlled. In today's society, submission is a word that is easily misinterpreted, especially in relationships. People talk about independence, freedom, and equality as though submission is the opposite of those values. However, when submission is understood in its true form, it becomes evident that it is not a loss of power, but rather a different kind of power. Submission, when chosen willingly, becomes a form of dominance that requires great strength, understanding, and maturity. Submission is not about being subservient. It is not about giving up one's will or becoming a puppet. Submission is about trust. It's about the understanding that by yielding in certain moments, you are allowing the relationship to flourish. In a partnership, both individuals have different strengths, and submission can be a way of recognizing the strengths in the other person. It's about knowing when to lead and when to follow, and recognizing that each role is equally important in maintaining balance and harmony. In this sense, submission becomes an act of leadership, not because one person is weak or inferior, but because they have the strength to allow the other person to lead when necessary. True submission comes from a place of power, not weakness. It's the strength to put trust in someone else, to believe in their ability to guide and protect. In relationships, submission isn't about being passive. It's about being active in the choice to allow your partner to take the reins when needed. This act requires vulnerability, and vulnerability is often seen as a weakness, but in reality, it is a powerful strength. The willingness to let go of control, even for a moment, requires immense courage. It is the ability to trust another person with your heart, your thoughts, and your emotions, and in doing so, showing them that you value their guidance. Submission is also a form of partnership. It recognizes that no one person can do everything. Relationships thrive when both individuals understand their unique roles and respect each other's strengths. In this sense, submission is about respecting the authority of the other person in areas where they excel. It's about knowing when to step back and let the other person lead, not because they are superior, but because they have a particular skill or insight that can benefit the relationship. This doesn't diminish your own power, but rather acknowledges that both individuals contribute in different ways to the dynamic. Submission isn't just about roles within a relationship. It's about commitment. It's about deciding that, in certain moments, you will give the other person the power to guide, to make decisions, and to be the dominant force. This decision is not made out of fear or submission to another person's will, but because you believe in the relationship and the other person enough to trust them with this responsibility. The act of submitting is, in essence, a form of respect for your partner's ability to lead, and respect for the relationship as a whole. In a truly balanced relationship, submission is reciprocal. It is not one-sided. Just as one partner may take the lead in certain aspects of the relationship, the other will take charge in others. This back and forth creates a dynamic of mutual respect and interdependence. It's about understanding that no one person is always in control, and both partners have the opportunity to submit at different times. The key is knowing when to yield, when to step back, and when to support. Submission is also about trust in your own judgment. It requires confidence to choose submission, knowing that it is a decision you are making consciously. It is not about being coerced or manipulated into submission, but about the willingness to submit when it feels right. This shows great self-assurance because it means you are not afraid to let go of control at the appropriate time. The ability to submit is a sign of emotional maturity and strength, not of inferiority. In a relationship where both individuals can practice submission, it fosters a deeper connection. When two people know that they can trust each other completely, they can operate from a place of security. They can communicate openly and honestly, without fear of judgment or rejection. When submission is mutual, it enhances the bond between partners, creating an environment where both can grow and thrive. The act of submission becomes an act of love that is free from ego, love that is based on trust and respect. People often misunderstand submission because they view it through the lens of power struggles. They think that for someone to submit, they must give up their own power, but the opposite is true. The act of submission is, in fact, a powerful choice. It is the ability to step aside when necessary, to trust the other person enough to let them take charge, and to understand that this is not a loss of power, but a redistribution of it. True submission is not about being controlled. It is about being in control of your own emotions, your own choices, and your own vulnerability. It takes immense strength to be able to submit in a healthy, balanced way. Submission in relationships is also a way of creating harmony. When both partners can submit in the right moments, they create a balance that allows the relationship to flourish. They understand that neither person can always be in control, and that by taking turns in the role of the leader, they ensure that both perspectives are valued. This harmony strengthens the relationship because it fosters a deep sense of mutual respect. Each person knows that their voice is heard, and they trust that the other will take charge when needed. In today's society, where individualism is often prioritized, submission can be seen as an outdated concept, something that belongs in the past. But when practiced correctly, submission is a timeless principle that forms the foundation of healthy relationships. It is not about giving up one's independence, but about recognizing that in certain moments, the relationship must come first. It's about choosing the other person, choosing the relationship, and choosing to submit when it is necessary to create balance and unity. Submission, when chosen consciously, becomes a force for good in the relationship, and in doing so, it creates a dynamic of mutual respect, trust, and growth. It is not a sign of weakness, but a sign of the strength it takes to let go, to trust, and to allow the relationship to thrive. When we look at loyalty and submission in relationships, we must reconsider the conventional narratives that often frame them as weaknesses or signs of oppression. Instead, they should be understood as profound acts of strength, commitment, and trust. These qualities are not about domination or control, but about understanding the delicate balance that exists between giving and receiving, leading and following. When practiced with mutual respect and genuine care, both loyalty and submission are essential pillars that support the health and growth of a relationship. Loyalty is not the passive endurance of a relationship. It is the active and conscious choice to commit, to stay grounded in the shared vision between two people, even when circumstances change. It's not about being tied down or trapped, but about building a foundation that is sturdy and unshakable. A relationship that is built on loyalty allows both individuals the freedom to grow, to be vulnerable, and to trust in the other person's intentions and actions. Loyalty is not about forcing another person to stay or giving them reasons to feel obligated. It's about fostering an environment where both partners naturally want to support and uplift each other. It is this loyalty that turns the bond between two people into something that is greater than the sum of its parts. For loyalty to work, there must also be trust. Trust in your partner, trust in the relationship, and trust in the future you are building together. Without trust, loyalty becomes a hollow gesture, a promise without substance. It's trust that allows both partners to thrive. Without it, there is no space for vulnerability, and without vulnerability, there is no real connection. Loyalty, when combined with trust, becomes a powerful tool for personal and collective growth, a source of strength that can carry both individuals through the darkest of times. On the other hand, submission, often misunderstood as submission to power or authority, is actually a form of control over one's own emotions, ego, and desires. Submission is not about giving up one's power. It is about acknowledging that there are times when one must allow the other to lead, to guide, or to take charge. Submission, when practiced in a healthy way, is a powerful act of trust. It is the ability to give the other person the room to shine, to take the lead, and to step back when necessary. This does not diminish one's worth or value in the relationship. Rather, it enhances it. By submitting, an individual shows they have the confidence to not always be in control, to trust their partner's judgment, and to understand that sometimes the most powerful act is to allow the relationship to lead. There is a common misconception that submission represents weakness or inferiority. However, submission, when chosen freely and consciously, requires a person to have a deep understanding of themselves and the relationship. It takes strength to trust another person enough to let go of the reins when necessary. It is a choice to support, to honor, and to follow, not because one is lesser, but because one recognizes that the relationship is a partnership in which both people are equally important. Submission is a sign of emotional maturity. It is the ability to say, "I trust you to lead in this moment," knowing that the other person will have the best interests of the relationship at heart. Furthermore, submission isn't about giving up one's independence or surrendering control permanently. Rather, it's a momentary act that is chosen out of respect for the other person's strengths. It's about recognizing the unique contributions each individual brings to the table and understanding that no one can be the sole leader in every situation. The beauty of submission is in its ability to create harmony within the relationship. By allowing each other the space to lead when necessary, both partners are able to grow and learn from one another. Submission fosters a dynamic where both people can contribute equally, but in different ways, thereby strengthening the relationship. When we combine the concepts of loyalty and submission, we begin to see the kind of relationship that can withstand the test of time. A relationship grounded in loyalty and submission is one that is rooted in trust, respect, and mutual understanding. It creates an environment where both individuals feel safe, supported, and valued. Loyalty and submission, when practiced consciously and willingly, allow both partners to be their best selves. They enable growth, promote harmony, and create a bond that is unbreakable. These qualities do not diminish individual power, but amplify it. They allow individuals to express their love and devotion in a way that is empowering, not disempowering. Loyalty is a form of strength that allows a person to remain committed, even when faced with challenges. Submission is a form of strength that allows a person to trust and let go, knowing that the relationship is stronger for it. Together, these qualities form the foundation of a relationship that is based on mutual respect, understanding, and love. It's important to remember that these qualities must be nurtured. Loyalty and submission do not occur naturally or automatically. They require work, effort, and above all, respect. Without mutual understanding, these qualities can be easily distorted or abused. But when both partners are committed to fostering a relationship where loyalty and submission are given freely and consciously, the bond they create is powerful and enduring. In a world that often celebrates independence and self-sufficiency, the idea of loyalty and submission might seem counterintuitive. However, it is in these acts of devotion and trust that we find true partnership. It's not about losing one's individuality or giving up control. It's about choosing to share that control, to trust another person with it, and to grow together. It's about finding strength in vulnerability and power in trust. Loyalty and submission are not contradictions to freedom and independence. They are the highest forms of these qualities. They represent a choice to stand by each other, to support one another, and to build something that is greater than what either person could achieve alone. It is a choice to invest in a relationship that can withstand time, challenge, and change. When loyalty and submission are present, both individuals are empowered to be their best selves, and the relationship becomes a force of love, growth, and unity. In the end, these two qualities create the kind of relationship where both partners feel secure, valued, and cherished. They allow for a partnership that is based on mutual respect, not fear, trust, not doubt, and love, not possession. It's through these acts of loyalty and submission that we find the true power of connection, the real strength of a relationship that is built to last.